Hello, I'm Dr. Kate from HypnoTC, the Hypnotherapy Training Company. And this video is one we've been asked a lot for by our students and our graduates. This video is being filmed coming up to the Christmas party season. And if you ever tell somebody that you're a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, they'll often say, "Oh, go on, show me something." Well, this video is going to give you something to show them. So if you'd like to know that, carry on watching. Before I give you some really cool techniques that you can use at a Christmas party or other seasonal event, there's a few things that I'd like you to think about. And the first is whether the person that you're planning to work with is fit to be hypnotized or even fit to take part in a suggestibility test. Are they a little bit too alcoholized? Have they had a little bit too much Christmas sherry? Have they had other things that would overstimulate them, even too much espresso? Or have they just stuffed themselves on the Christmas buffet? Because being hypnotized straight after a massive meal isn't always the most comfortable thing, although hypnosis can actually help with digestion. So who knows, a little bit of gentle hypnosis may be quite comfortable, but not perhaps as showy as you might intend. Something else to consider is that if you're in a festive event or any other type of gathering, there's likely to be more than one person involved in your activity. There'll be the person that you're working with and there'll be the audience. So do be aware of what's going on around you, whether anybody else is copying what you're doing with your person, and just keep aware of the need for safety for everybody involved. Also, if you're going to be entertaining, make sure that you make eye contact with those that are watching, as well as the person you're engaged with. In addition to this, I'd like you to think about using techniques that are ego-friendly. If people are there with strangers or with their friends, they're not really going to want to do something that makes them look an idiot. So rather than doing something which could be perceived as a pass or fail, do something where it's simply information, that there isn't a win or lose aspect to it. And finally, think about using the compliance set. And the compliance set is a little bit like the yes set, but it sets somebody up for good engagement with a technique, whether that is a suggestibility test or a quick bit of hypnosis. You might ask them to plant their feet on the floor, whether they're sitting or standing. You might ask them to have a bit of a stretch and to get more comfortable, maybe to take a breath. Maybe simply to open and close their eyes. Whatever it is, you want them to comply with simple suggestions. And by doing so, they're setting themselves up to engage with whatever you're going to do. And as part of this, by giving them simple things to follow, you can then ask them, are you ready to engage in a quick hypnosis activity? So, talking of hypnosis activities, what can you do with them? Well, we've already got a video on the hand lock, so I'm not going to go through that with you. But fundamentally, getting somebody to imagine gluing their hands shut, locking their hands and not being able to open them, it's a great one because not only have you got to convince her with the person there with their hands locked, everybody who's watching is going, wow, look at that. So that's a really useful one to use. Now, another one you may already be familiar with, but magnetic fingers can be enhanced with a little bit of extra Christmas wrapping. So I'm going to talk through my way of doing it with you. First of all, safety first. Check for long nails, check for rings and everything like that, so that it's safe for somebody to do this. Just have a quick glance. Check they haven't got arthritis in their knuckles. You can normally tell. So then you ask them, are they happy to engage in a quick activity that will show them the power of their mind? When you've done that, ask them, and you could actually do this with more than one person, maybe a group of 3, 4, even 5. Get them to rub their hands nice and vigorously. And what you're aiming for, you want to get a nice tingle going, so really vigorously rub. You could do it now. And then stop rubbing, push your palms together. While you're pushing your palms together, push your fingers together. Keep your hands pushing together, interlock your fingers and thumbs. Keeping your hands pushing together, bring your index fingers up and together. And then you're going to give the briefing that in a moment, I'm going to ask you to bring your fingers about 1 inch apart and imagine that they're magnetized, and just notice what happens. So as you squeeze your hands together, open your fingers about 1 inch apart and just notice what happens as that sensation of magnetized fingers pulls those fingers together. And the very moment that they do, you can take a wonderful deep breath, and as you breathe out, you can relax your hands apart. When you do that, lots of energy, lots and lots of praise when they achieve it. Some people will be quicker than others. If somebody in the group is going quite slowly, you could even circle their fingers and just give suggestions that those fingers are being winched in together, something like that. So that's magnetic fingers. I've mentioned hand lock, also a fantastic one. And the third one that I'm going to suggest that's superbly visible is steel arm. And the idea with steel arm is you get somebody to stick their arm out in front of them, and you're going to give suggestions that it won't bend. But if you do it the traditional way, it could bend. If you stick your arm out now, straight in front of you, it bends, doesn't it? But with my secret special way, it won't bend. So if it's appropriate for you to do so, no problems with your neck, back and shoulders, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to stick your arm out in front of you. And I'd like you to push your arm forward from the shoulder, push it forward and make a really tight fist. Now, turn your hand so that your thumb's uppermost, this part of your thumb, and stare at that part of your thumb, this part right here. And as you stare at that part of your thumb, I'd like you to imagine that there's a steel bar running from the middle of your shoulder all the way through your wrist into the palm of your hand, a solid steel bar. And it's such a strong bar that in a moment, when I ask you to bend your arm, you're going to find that that steel is so strong that your arm simply won't bend. And you can try. Excuse me. You can try. You can really try. And actually, the more you try, the stronger the steel gets. How cool is that? Now, take a deep, refreshing breath of air. Blow on your thumb. Just here. Just there. So turn the hand to blow on the thumb, and your arm loses its steel. So, what is the trick with steel arm? So, first thing that we do is we get them to push their arm out in front of them, and that locks the elbow really nicely. And then you're turning the hand all the way over. That locks out the elbow. That arm is not going to bend with that elbow locked out. Then you're giving suggestions for steel, which makes sense. If your arm's a steel bar, it's not going to bend. You can get them to try and bend their arm, and it's just not going to happen. But rather than just say, oh, the steel vanishes, twist the hand back, give a new point of focus, which is the reason for twisting the hand back. Breath. Breathe out onto the thumb, releases the arm, and then they can find that their arm now bends. With all of these, lots of energy, lots of excitement will draw people into it. So particularly with magnetic fingers, it's going to work this way with all of the pushing because you create a vacuum almost, so that those fingers will come together. With the steel arm, it's going to happen because of the twist of the hand and then the twist back. And if you have a look at the hand lock, the way that's set up is going to get those fingers nice and tightly locked together. I encourage you to practice. Practice the words so that they flow. Add in a sense of fun, of delight, of curiosity even, and that will draw people in. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to find out any more about what we teach at HypnoTC, then feel free to have a look at our website, www.hypnotc.com. But for now, thank you for watching.